Welcome to this episode, which is on how to set and achieve your business and life goals. And I'm going to be breaking down a simple framework that's going to turn your vague goals into clear daily actions that you can control that will get you to where you want to be. From reverse engineering your income so that you know exactly what needs to happen each day to get there, to building a business that fits your life instead of it being a burden, setting goals in the right order, creating habits that actually stick, and balancing money, time, health, relationships, and everything else without sacrificing one for the other. By the end of this, you won't just feel motivated, but you'll have a real plan, real numbers, and practical steps to move you closer to the life that you actually want to live. So, if you're serious about winning in business and life, listen properly and take notes. But before we do, don't forget to leave us a review if you get value from this show, and subscribe so that you don't miss future episodes that drop every single Tuesday at 5:30 a.m. So, let's get into this.
Welcome to the Elite Trades Community Podcast, the place where we help the trades and construction industry to nail their marketing, cut down their hours, build their business, lay down the tools, and raise the roof on profits. So get ready to take some notes from your host, Harry Wilkinson.
The first thing we're going to talk about is reverse engineering your goals. So let me give you an example of what I mean by this and how to do it. So take your income goals as an example, and a lot of people will set income goals completely wrong. They say, I want to make 15K a month, and then they just hope that it happens. That's not a strategy. It needs to be broken down with a plan of how you're going to get there and what you need to do to achieve it. So step one, if your goal is £15,000 per month, and let's say you've got a profit margin of 30%. And of course, all businesses have different expenses. They all have different overheads, different tax brackets, etc. So you need to factor all of these in. And if you don't know your numbers, then you need to figure this out immediately. But let's just base this example on a 30% profit margin. That means that you need to bring in 50 grand in revenue every single month. And let's say that your average job value is £2,500. In order to get that 50 grand revenue, you need to make sure that you're bringing 20 jobs in each month. And let's say that your close rate is 1 in 3 inquiries. That means you need 60 inquiries per month to win those 20. And now we break it down weekly. So 60 inquiries divided by 4 is 15 jobs per week. Now we break it down daily. So 15 inquiries divided by 5 working days, let's say. That's 3 per day. Now here's where it gets powerful. Your real goal isn't 15 grand anymore. Your real goal is generating 3 quality inquiries today and following up properly on yesterday's leads. That's something that you can actually control and measure every single day now. This is the difference between feeling overwhelmed by a massive target and having a clear action plan. You're not wondering, how do I make this 15 grand a month anymore? You're asking, did I generate my 3 leads today? If so, I'm on track. And if not, I need to do more or something different to achieve it. You see, once you know these numbers, you can engineer different outcomes by changing just one variable. As an example, if you want to work less, then you can increase your average job value from that 2.5 grand to 3.5 grand. And you only need 14 jobs instead of 20 now. Or if you want more profit, you can improve your close rate from 33% to 40%, and now you need fewer leads. Or if you want more freedom, you can focus on raising your prices by 20% and take fewer jobs on. But remember, in order to just change these numbers, you might have to build, change, or implement something into your business. You don't just decide to increase your job value overnight and all of a sudden it just happens. But at least you know that if it's time that you want back, that's what you need to focus on so you can increase your job value, which will require less jobs while still hitting your 15 grand goal. Don't try to grow by just working harder. I want you to become a smart operator who can reverse engineer the numbers and find the leverage points for what it is that you need more of. So, as an action, before you move on, write down these 5 numbers for your business right now. Your monthly net profit target. This is revenue minus all of your costs such as labor, materials, marketing, softwares, any expenses, and even including tax as well. Next, your current net profit margin, your average job value, your close rate as a percentage. And to work that out, all you have to do is take the amount of jobs that you've won and divide it by the total quotes that you've given. And you also need to note down how many inquiries you need per week to hit your target. And if you don't know these numbers, you're flying blind and you can't win a game when you don't know the score. Now, I'm going to share with you the shift that changes everything. You don't build your life around your business. You build your business around your life. But the problem is, most tradespeople do this completely backwards. They chase revenue, they take every job on, they work on weekends, and they wonder why they're burnt out, they're overweight, or they can't see the kids. Even when the money's decent, they're still miserable. And here's what I mean practically of what you've got to do. Before you set any financial targets or growth plans, you need to define what your life actually looks like. Not what Instagram says it should look like, what you actually want. So as an example, let's say that you want to work Monday to Thursday, 7 while 4, home for dinner every night, you want to train 3 times a week in the gym, you want to keep every single weekend clear, take 4 weeks holiday every single year. These are your non-negotiables. So every single business goal that you set needs to fit inside that framework. And if it doesn't, then you change the goal, you change the pricing, the structure. Because if hitting your goal makes your life worse, they're not goals, they're traps. Now I'm going to share with you where most people create their own nightmare because they set their business goals in the wrong order. The correct order is as followed. Firstly, income, because you need cash flow to survive and invest. Second is capacity. How many jobs can you actually handle well? And the third thing is marketing. How do you fill that capacity consistently? Then the fourth thing is systems. How do you actually scale without burning out? So let me share an example with you to show you why this order is important. So imagine you launch a massive Facebook ad campaign and you've not properly thought about capacity. You get 40 inquiries, you book 25 jobs in, but you can only actually deliver 15 properly. Now you rush the other 10, you piss off customers, you get bad reviews and you damage your reputation. You've just paid to destroy your business. So you've got to get this right and you've got to plan and create goals in the right order. So imagine if you're currently doing 12 jobs a month comfortably. You hire a skilled labourer, which gives you the capacity for 18 jobs now. Then you gradually increase your marketing to fill those 6 extra slots. Your quality stays high, your reputation's improving, and your systems develop to handle the growth. It's sustainable. Another example of people who just get it completely wrong is chasing turnover without profit. You do 500k in revenue, work 70 hours a week, and you're only netting 40k. Congratulations! You've just bought yourself a stressful job that pays £11 an hour. The better version of this is you're doing 300k in revenue, working only 45 hours a week, but net profiting 90k. That's £38 an hour, and you actually have a life. You see, revenue is just a vanity metric. Profit and time freedom are the real measures of a business's success. So I'm going to share with you how to set SMART goals. So each letter stands for something. So S is being specific. So not by saying, oh, I want to make more money, but you want to net profit 12k per month. M stands for measurable. This is something that you can track. So maybe something weekly with actual numbers. A is achievable. So based on reality and not your ego. So if you're net profiting 6k a month right now, let's say, aiming for 50k next month is probably a step too far. R stands for relevance. So this has to be aligned with your life. not what some bloke on Instagram is doing. And T is time bound. You need a deadline or it drifts forever. So as an example, a proper SMART goal would be, I will increase my average job value from 2,500 to 3,500 within 90 days. And I'm going to do this by improving my quoting process. I'm going to add upsell options and I'm going to target higher value clients. And you want to test every goal against this. If any of your goals fail, then rewrite them. But you need to be specific and know exactly what you need to do in order to achieve them. You see, business goals mean nothing if your personal life is collapsing. And I see this all the time. I see people saying that they're doing it for their family, but they're never home. They're stressed, they're short-tempered, they're gaining weight, not sleeping. That's not success. That is just slow motion failure. You need goals in both areas, business and personal. So stuff like revenue targets, job numbers, profit margins and lead generation. Or on the personal side of things, like hours worked per day, stress levels, you could put it on a rating of 1 to 10. Sleep quality, energy levels, maybe even time with family or fitness sessions that you've done. Because you don't want to be in a position where you're saying to yourself, yeah, I've hit 20k net this month, but I worked 70 hours, missed every family dinner, and I feel like shit. Because that is not a win. So sometimes you might need to adjust. Maybe you aim for 16k at 50 hours and hire someone to bridge the gap. Now you're winning in both areas. Now I'm going to share with you the 8 areas where you need to set goals and conquer if you want to have a happy and fulfilled life. So firstly, health, fitness and well-being. So this is stuff like training in the gym, daily steps, eating for energy or consistent sleep routine, managing stress and protecting your mental health, recovery time. All this type of stuff comes first because without energy and health and mindset, everything else collapses. Poor health kills focus, patience, confidence, and decision making. You can't build a business, lead relationships, or enjoy money if you're exhausted or burned out. The next one is personal development and mindset. And this is about stuff like emotional control or confidence and discipline, learning new skills and overcoming limiting beliefs, accountability, self-awareness. This is what stops self-sabotage. It sharpens your judgment and it allows you to handle pressure, setbacks, and responsibility. The next is career, or in your case, as I'm speaking to business owners, your business. If happiness is your destination, your business is your car and what you're going to use to get there. So this is stuff like growing and scaling, making more profit, systemizing your business so that you can win your time back, building your network and creating a positive environment around you, having a better client selection, etc. Now, with health and mindset in place, you can actually build something stable. Business creates leverage, structure, and income, which then unlocks options in every other area. Next up is finances. Diversifying your income streams. Next up, finances. So it could be diversifying your income streams. Again, making more profit. What about your retirement pot? Or investing for your future or your family? Being able to afford nice experiences and nice things. What about financial security and not having to worry? You see, having your finances in order, it gives you options and it allows you to say no to positions that you don't want to be in. It allows you to help other people and to get things that you want, whether that's a nice house, a car, maybe holidays for the family. Next one to write down is time freedom. So protected evenings so that you can relax, non-negotiable days off, holidays without actually having to work on them. Just owning your own calendar and being present with your family. Having a great social life and enjoying all that life has to actually offer. Once money and systems are working, you can begin to buy your time back now. Next area to conquer is relationships. So maybe quality time with your partner, helping your family, having strong friendships, setting clear boundaries and honest communication, being able to resolve conflicts properly. You see, time and emotional capacity allow you to show up properly for your partner, your kids, your friends, And strong relationships massively affect happiness and keep you grounded as you grow. Next one to write down, fun and experiences. So this might be holidays and trips, could be hobbies, social events, trying new things, even just laughter, enjoying the journey, not just chasing goals. We're not here to just work, pay bills, taxes, retire and die. You need to enjoy life and do things that make you happy. Next up is purpose, legacy, and impact. Having a clear vision for your life, values that you live by, an example that you want to set for your kids, maybe even contribution that's beyond money. Think about your reputation, what you want people to remember you for. Once you've got survival, stability, and enjoyment all handled, you naturally look for meaning and contribution and thinking about what it is that you're leaving behind. This is what makes your life feel whole and not just successful. You see, if you can nail all these areas, you'll have an amazing and very fulfilled life. So start creating SMART goals that we talked about earlier around these 8 key areas and be purposeful as to how you're actually going to achieve them all. And remember, this isn't going to be easy and it's going to take time. And if you do what is hard, eventually your life will become easy. But if you do what is easy, your life's just going to be forever hard. And remember, you don't need perfection across all of these. Just consistent progress in each area simultaneously, even if it's small, it'll take you one step closer to the life that you actually want. Okay, so I want you to build habits that support your goals, because goals fail without habits. Because motivation will disappear, it always does. So instead of obsessing over outcomes, focus on daily and weekly habits that make a difference. So you might have business habits, such as every Monday morning, I'm going to review the last week's numbers and plan this week. Every morning you could say, follow up on 3 outstanding quotes. Or as an example with personal habits, you could say, I'm going to train Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 6 a.m. And schedule this stuff in like a job. Maybe it's to walk for 20 minutes every lunch break. No phone after 9 p.m. Drink water first thing when you wake up. You see, habits should be small, specific, and tied to the existing routines. So don't try and overhaul your entire life on Monday. Stack one habit at a time, and if you can do this, and you can do it for more than 30 days, it begins to subconsciously set inside you that this is becoming routine and it's what you do now. That's when habits start becoming easier. Now, I want you to remember that discipline beats motivation. Motivation is great when it shows up, but it's unreliable as fuck. It comes and goes all the time, where discipline is different. Discipline is keeping promises to yourself even when you don't feel like it. So you can build discipline by stacking small efforts consistently. So as an example, don't commit to training 6 days a week if you're currently training 0. Instead, commit to 3 days. Nail that for a month, then add another day if you want. But small, consistent wins build discipline faster than a big promises that you can't keep. Okay, next up, I want you to get a vision board. A vision board is something you can visually see on a regular basis, showcasing everything you want from life. This is motivation to go harder when you're up, but also a reminder of why you're doing what you're doing when you're down. But vision boards aren't magic. They don't just attract things from the universe. They work because they reinforce identity and direction, but you've got to take action. So break each thing down into a SMART goal and take real consistent action on it. So what should actually be on your vision board? Well, whatever you want from life. It's as simple as that. It could be your ideal weekly schedule, your income target, your ideal physique or your health, or time freedom or activities, maybe even holidays, family time, the business structure that you're building, skills that you're developing, the car that you want. And you want to use this as a behavioral check. Ask yourself daily, does today's behavior match the future version of me that's on this board? If not, something needs to change. Either your behavior or your vision. Now, let's talk about long-term vision versus short-term vision. Where do you want to be? What does the business look like? What's your role? What's your lifestyle like? What you want to do is start creating short-term executions. So over a 90-day period, you need to think about what specific goals can you achieve this quarter. These create momentum and keep you moving. So you also need to create long-term goals as well. So a 5-year vision is what I recommend. So that could be running a 1 million turnover business with a project manager, 3 teams working 3 days a week and net profiting 150 grand a year. And your 90-day goal could be increase your average job value from 2,500 to 3,200. I want to implement a CRM strategy and hire 1 skilled labourer and generate 50 inquiries per month. Now, the 90-day goals are stepping stones to the 5-year vision. So you want to review your 90-day goals every quarter and adjust based on what's working. And remember, changing a goal isn't failure. Only quitting is. End of the day, life changes, capacity changes, the markets change, what you want changes and all sorts. But as a smart business owner, you need to be able to adjust accordingly. And I'm going to share with you 3 key timeframes as to when you need to adjust. So the first is if you're consistently missing targets despite solid effort. The next one is if your circumstances change. So maybe a new baby, an injury, there's been a massive market shift, or you've got a new service, something like that. And the last one is you're hitting targets, but it's destroying other goals, such as health or maybe even relationships or whatever it may be. So let's say that you've set a goal of 20k net per month. And after 3 months, you're consistently hitting 14k, but working 60 hours and stressed out. Don't just push harder, you need to adjust. So maybe the goal becomes 15 grand instead of 20, but in 50 hours. And you focus on improving efficiency and pricing instead of just volume. So if something isn't working, you need to ask yourself why it's not working. Then change the approach, but not the commitment. Okay, next up, I'm going to share with you what I believe to be the biggest and best thing I can suggest when it comes to achieving your goals. And that is having an accountability partner. Because accountability removes excuses. And when someone else knows what you've said you're going to do, you're far more likely to actually do it. Because you don't want to show someone that you've intentionally gone back on your word. And when you have to check in with them, and you're not going to want to have to tell them that you haven't been taking the tough steps that you said you were going to make this happen. You see, this is about using your fear of having to state that to your own benefit. So who can actually be your accountability partner then? Well, anyone, but a business coach, maybe a mentor, another trades business owner running a similar business, someone from a networking community, or maybe even just your partner. So all you have to do is just check in with each other every now and again. It could be a 5-minute sit down to evaluate what you've done. It could be a phone call, a Zoom call, or even just texting. But consistently having someone holding you accountable like this will push you to want to do more than you normally would when you know there's no accountability behind it. It could even just be a weekly check-in text saying my revenue target was 10k, I only hit 8.5k. Or it could be that you said you were going to train 3 times this week, but you've actually trained 5 times this week. Now you can evaluate together and set the goals up for the following week. You see, this one thing will multiply your results faster than almost anything else, I assure you. So trust me, you definitely want an accountability partner. Okay, so next is some common mistakes that are going to keep you stuck. And that is sometimes people set too many big goals all at once. So what you want to do is just pick out 3 impactful goals maximum every single 90 days. You can have many more smaller ones, but not too many huge goals all at the same time. The next mistake people make is copying others, because what works for someone else's business, life, or circumstances won't necessarily work for yours. Another mistake is ignoring current reality. So if you're trying to quadruple your income by next month, it's not as realistic. So ideally, you want to set a 6 to 12 month plan in place for it. Another one is chasing vanity numbers. So revenue means nothing if you're not actually making profit. So always focus on your profit. And quitting too early as well, because most goals need 90 days minimum to show real results. So give them time. So here's what I want you to do in the next 24 hours. I want you to write down what your ideal week looks like. So be specific about the hours, the days you're working, the time that you're going to spend with your family, etc. And set one clear income goal for the next 90 days. And reverse engineer the numbers so you know how many jobs, how many inquiries, how many sales, and what daily actions you need to take in order to achieve that. Define 3 habits that support this goal and choose one accountability partner and message them today. Just take one action in the next 24 hours that moves you towards this goal. And of course, you want to use SMART goals on all of the 8 key areas that you need to master for a happy and fulfilled life that I shared with you earlier. I'm hoping that you've got a lot of value from this episode. If you have, then please leave us a review and subscribe for future episodes. And remember that these come out every single week on a Tuesday at 5:30 a.m. And you can join the UK's #1 Facebook group and community for trades businesses by clicking the link in the comments. And I'll see you on the next episode.